You're listening to Awards Magnet, a Gold Derby podcast with hosts Debra Birnbaum, Joyce Ng, and me, Christopher Rosen. If you'd like to be part of the show, send us an email at slugfests@goldderby.com. We'll do weekly mailbag episodes and all the stuff you love on Awards Magnet. Now, stay tuned for the show. Welcome back to Awards Magnet. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Debra Birnbaum and Joyce Ng. And guys, this is the moment we've been waiting for, our final Oscar predictions for the year.
My goodness. What are we going to do?
I don't know. I'm so excited.
I do this live, so I don't know what I'm going to pick.
We're
the
recording
suspense
this
is killing me. Can we pick Oppenheimer again? Can we pick Oppenheimer again?
Everything Everywhere at one of these easier years. We're recording this the Monday after the SAG Awards, so I know we'll have a lot of great changes maybe to make after the results of the SAG Awards.
And also 6 other days to make changes.
Exactly.
Well, yes, they're final.
We have commitment issues. All right, so we're going to start with the short categories, everyone's favorite, because it's the one that's going to screw up everyone's ballot. Well, actually, everything's going to screw up everyone's ballot this year.
Win it for you. It could win it for you in your pool.
This is true. All right, so let's start with live action short. Alien, Anuda, I'm Not a Robot, The Last Ranger, The Man Who Cannot Remain Silent. Any advice for the Oscar ballot pools?
I think doing this live.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Alien. Just it's about immigration. I feel like I could see like The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent win too.
That's my I have Alien first and The Man Who Cannot Remain Silent second. I had it first. I had these. I haven't even changed these. Similarly, like Joyce said, I think it's about a very timely subject matter about ICE and deportation. I think it's also, I could be wrong, it's the only one of these that's actually in the English language. I think that's right, and it just feels like very timely, and like I think not everybody votes in this category. Like we know, like certain Oscar voters maybe abstain. Yes. I just feel like this is going to be a timely winner, and that would be the choice.
It's a pretty wrenching watch, and I think if you watch it and if you have feelings about the subject matter, it's going to pull at your heartstrings and it's going to get your vote. So I'm going to switch mine to Alien also.
Wow.
Live. It's all happening live here, guys.
Like the way I do the shorts, usually I've said this before, but I don't usually go with the number one in the odds because I feel like most people don't pay attention and they're just like moving things over when they're just finishing their predictions. And that's how these shorts are number one in the odds. But usually a lot of the times they don't actually end up winning. So, and number one in the odds right now is The Man Who Cannot Remain Silent.
I think subject matter wins for Alien. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see if we're right.
Yes.
All right. Let's go on to documentary short. We've got Death by Numbers, I Am Ready, Warden, Incident, Instruments of a Beating Heart, and The Only Girl in the Orchestra.
I am going with Incident, police brutality, and body cam footage. There's a lot of very serious subject matter in this category. I Am Warden is a first. Yeah. I can see that happening too. That's a death row inmate, very sad. Yeah, and Death by Numbers is another one. Only Girl in the Orchestra, like they've kind of like have leaned towards like music stuff recently too, so maybe like that could do it. But I'm gonna do Incident.
I'm actually going to do Only Girl in the Orchestra, Joyce,
because
for that
of the
reason.
music. The music.
They lean towards music, and also I think, like you said, these are all incredibly serious films, and this feels like the one that is an outlier on that front. Not that they're all, you know what I mean? Like it's like these are very heavy subjects, and The Only Girl in the Orchestra not as heavy, plus widely available on Netflix. So I have Incident in second. I agree. I think that's another timely one.
There's another music one here too. Instruments of Beating Heart.
Yes. I think Only Girl in the Orchestra though could win. It's third in the odds. So I was like, well, we'll see. I'm going to take
Incident is 2, so I'm like, it's still not first.
No, I think publicity is another really good factor of this. Like, which of these are widely watchable? Which of these have been seen? And then, you think about it being available on Netflix. And it's just definitely been in my face every time I've turned on my Netflix. So, which I've been doing a lot of. So, we'll see.
I think it's like accessibility and then who cares to watch and then care to vote too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
I know. This one's a tough call for me. I guess I'm going to go with Only Girl in the Orchestra. I'm sort of swayed by the Netflix of it all and the accessibility and the just publicity of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Moving on to the last short category, Best Animated Short. We've got Beautiful Men, In the Shadow of the Cypress, Magic Candies, Wander to Wonder. Yuck. That's really its title. Yuck.
It's cute. It's cute. It's about first love. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm debating between Yuck and Magic Candies, actually.
So, funny story, Joyce. So was I.
Wow.
I should have gone to you first, Chris. Sorry, Joyce.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But I want to hear what Joyce has to say.
Well, I think they have the animation great in both of them, and they're cute too. And it's like a nice story too. I might do Magic Candies. I'm just gonna.
I also did Magic Candies for this. I think it's like the same thing, a cute story, cute animation. Yeah. But the reason I was really drawn to Yuck also is because like Deborah, you just did.
Titles.
It's a great title. Yeah. It's like very notable. And I think people like that. We've seen that in the past. Like they like the titles when they're like poppy or catchy. So I think Yuck, and it's a good story as well. But I'm going to stick with Magic Candies. Also, it's last in our odds. So I just feel like that's like just. That's
Beautiful Men is first.
Calling a shot right there. So if it wins, I'll feel great. And if it loses, obviously, I'll feel like a bozo, but it's fine.
I'm happy if I get 2 out of 3 of these. So.
Last year, I think I definitely flopped on these last year.
I don't remember what.
Not well. I didn't. So
I picked last year.
So there you go.
I'm going to give it to Yuck. I feel like you swayed me with the title argument.
Title is important.
Title is important. And I feel like when you're looking at the ballot, it's going to jump out at you.
That's what I think.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to things where we have a little bit more confidence. Hopefully. We'll see. International feature. This is obviously an interesting one. These are all really strong films. Obviously, there's been a lot of conversation. So we've got Emilia Perez, Flo, The Girl with the Needle, I'm Still Here, The Seed of the Sacred Fig. Obviously, this conversation has changed a lot over the course of the last couple of weeks. Chris, why don't you start with this one?
So I've had Emilia Perez the entire time, but I'm going to switch here last minute to I'm Still Here. I feel like not necessarily because of the controversy, but I do also think that like the more people caught up with I'm Still Here, the more I've seen like people really passionate about it and love it. And I just think that maybe that pushes it over the top here, especially that plus the controversy, which I think still has left a bad taste in people's mouths. So I could think I'm Still Here is going to win, and I'll put Emilia Perez in second.
I think I'll just stick with Emilia. Like I totally get the I'm Still Here argument, and I agree. I think there was a huge discovery factor for it after the Globes, and obviously it got these 3 nominations at the Oscars, and people definitely checked it out more. And it's such I wouldn't say easy watch, but it's such a traditional, conventional type of movie. It's really easy to get into it and like it. But I think like the whole Carla scandal thing, I think it affects it, but I don't think like to such a huge degree that, because I mean like Emilia was really just favored to win 3 categories, this being one of them, you know. So, and it still won BAFTA, and voting was still ongoing after the scandal broke. So I think it'll still have like the international support to offset any of the people who, you know, are no longer voting for it because of the controversy, right? And I feel like the controversy is a much bigger deal domestically than it is internationally as well.
We've definitely seen that.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. Can Flo pull off an upset here?
That would be cool, but I think it's third.
Yeah, I have it in third. I have it in third too, but I don't think it could, I guess. But I think there's too much passion, I think, for I'm Still Here. And also, as we've seen Emilia Perez, people who like it did like it. So I think it's probably in third.
I hear you. I just feel like it deserves a conversation, or at least the question asking, because, you know, it always seems to surprise in one way or another. I hear what you're saying about Emilia Perez. I just think the passion for I'm Still Here is so strong and is so great. And it's such a powerful film. It's just, you know, one that, you know, it's a tough call. I'm going to go with I'm Still Here on this one. No, these are all great films. No, because I still keep thinking about
Seed. You change it, okay?
Yeah, I know. I still keep thinking about the other thing is I keep thinking about Seed of the Sacred Fig, which I feel like has gotten lost, and it's such a powerful film, so incredible. If you haven't seen it, please go see it. It just got, it's just, it happens to be really strong international year. It just never broke through.
Yeah, it never took off. Really, no. And had a great narrative too, like a great story behind it, but it just never happened for it. So.
For sure. But I think I'm still here. I mean, Fernanda's performance is just tremendous. So, but I know, spoiler alert, we'll get to that one. Sorry. All right. Best documentary feature. We've got Black Box Diaries, No Other Land, Porcelain War, Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, and Sugarcane. Who's jumping on this one first?
I think, Film Twitter, most people online want No Other Land to win. I still have that currently. I can see it losing, though. I think there are a lot of strong options here, and timely subject matter too as well. Like I was debating like putting Porcelain War in first.
So I did put Porcelain War in first, Joyce, because it's actually the only No Other Land has not really won a lot of industry awards, nor was really nominated in a lot of places, and Porcelain War has performed really well. I feel like also, like you said, another timely subject matter. I think definitely No Other Land, I think, has obviously also a timely subject matter, very, a strong narrative. And I think the campaign of it's a movie that has no distribution really played in its favor, because it felt like it's like a renegade film almost, right? To be like, oh, like no one's willing to even put this out. So it must be like, you should really check it out. All that said, I do think there is a strong support for Porcelain War, and I think maybe that pushes it over the top. But if No Other Land won, obviously, I think most people are expecting it to win. It's first in the odds. Porcelain War is still third in the odds, behind Sugarcane, which is also really good and has won a lot. It's like, critics awards and stuff, but I'm going to go Porcelain War, and I guess another one where maybe I'm wrong. I feel like I'm just going against everything, but I'm going to stick with Porcelain War. I don't know.
I might change to Porcelain War.
Yeah, I'm with Porcelain War on this one. I think it's a tough call. I think these are, there are strong narratives behind these films. It just feels like Porcelain War is accessible to a large variety of the branch of the voting body, excuse me. And I think when more of the voters go to watch it, it's got a message, it's accessible. I think they're going to respond to it.
It's the DJ winner.
Yeah.
Yes. And yes. Consensus. We'll see if we're right. All right, let's talk about animated feature. We've got Flow again, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and Wild Robot.
I'm doing Wild Robot. One Wild Robot, as Chris's daughter calls it.
I also will do One Wild Robot. The reason I think if Flow would have won at BAFTA, I would obviously have Flow here, but with Wallace and Gromit winning at BAFTA over Flow, Flow definitely has a lot of support. But I just think that with the whole Academy voting, this is the bigger movie. And like, unless it's like people would say like, oh, like last year, like, Boy and the Heron won over Spider-Verse. It's slightly different to me because I think Miyazaki is like an obvious brand name, and no disrespect to the Flow, against, Zilla Lobos. He's not a Miyazaki yet. So I just feel like that's the separation.
And also they don't like sequels here. And Spider-Verse was a sequel, and, Wild Robot, Chris Anders. And it got 2 additional noms for score and sound. So
and so Chris Anderson never won. Would be his fourth time nominated. So I think it would be great if he won. So yeah, I'm gonna go Wild Robot too.
Me too. I think there's a lot of support and love for Wild Robot. Flow is tremendous. I think it's sort of this sweetheart story of this campaign. Everyone's watched it emerge, and it's a great watch. But I think the success of Wild Robot is undeniable.
Yeah. Why don't we take a quick break, and then we'll come back into the below the line categories. And we're back on our final Oscar picks into the below the line category. So far, I feel incredibly unconfident about every one of my picks. So this is going great.
But I think you can feel confident about this next one.
Yes, I think so too.
Here we've got at least the guilds. Like the guilds have given us some clues, so we can feel some confident. We know how the guilds feel about their respective films. So hopefully we can sound smarter at least. Don't hold us to it. All right, let's start with VFX. We've got Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of Planet of the Apes, and Wicked.
Dune.
I also have Dune. Not a lot to say here. I think this one feels like one of the closest like locks of the night. Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah. Yes. I think this is it. So congratulations to the Dune team on their future Oscar win, I guess.
Correct. I feel like we'll be saying that on a few of these. Best Sound, Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Wicked, and Wild Robot.
I think I might stick with Dune here. It won BAFTA. It won the Golden Reel. A Complete Unknown won CAS on Saturday. So it's split. But I think if the 2 sound categories still existed, I think it would split like that. But I'm just going to lean with BAFTA here and do Dune.
I was also going to do that, but I think I'm going to go with a Complete Unknown. Not just because I interviewed all of these sound people recently and they're all lovely.
That's what you're doing.
But I think it's CAS win I thought was like pretty strong. And I just feel like maybe it's like a little bit of like Bohemian Rhapsody style. Plus the narrative of them singing live throughout was like very prominent. Dune maybe been there, done that. I don't think you could argue with the Dune sound. And maybe I should just pick it for VFX. But I'm going to go Complete Unknown because while I feel like the other movies here are not as competitive, like no disrespect to Amelia Perez and Wicked, but musicals, like straight up musicals here, not necessarily something that would probably win with a combined sound category, and Wild Robot winning would be a complete shock. So I think it's between a Complete Unknown and Dune. I think Complete Unknown is actually the more liked movie among the Academy. And since everyone is voting, I'm going to stick with that. So I'm going to go Complete Unknown.
When I was thinking about this podcast this morning, I was thinking this is going to be one of those years where like it's a participation trophy. Everybody gets something. And I know people don't vote like that necessarily, but I just feel like this is going to be one of those things where you're not going to feel this groundswell as you're watching the show, where it's like, it's going to be a sweep of, Oppenheimer getting, X number of wins. And this is a long way of saying that I think this is going to be Complete Unknowns. I would give the edge to Complete Unknown here because I just feel like everyone's going to get something at the Oscars, which would be a lovely Oscars, hopefully. We'll see.
I love that too. I would love that. So I'm always down for that.
I don't care about that at all. I don't care. I'm going to go away empty-handed. I do not care.
Joyce is cold heart. I want everyone to go away happy. Yes, you do.
It's not a participation trophy, guys. Listen.
But I do think it would be deserving winner. That's all I'll say.
No, I think it's a deserving winner too. Yeah. That's my point. I think it's a deserving winner.
And I just think that doesn't matter.
I don't know, but I think in the absence of one film that's sweeping, this is what I think is going to happen. I don't know. That's my prediction. Yeah. Whatever.
Same.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me in the warm heart place. All right. Speaking of warm hearts, moving on to Best Song. We've got El Mal from Amelia Perez, The Journey from 688, Like a Bird from Sing Sing, Mi Camino from Amelia Perez, and Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late. Chris, what do you think? Is this El Mal?
I'm going to stick with El Mal. I have Like a Bird from Sing Sing in second. I actually think that is got a better shot of winning than The Journey. No disrespect to the great Diane Warren, but I'm going to stick with El Mal. I don't think people are thinking that deeply about this category this year.
No, they do not care about this category.
And so I think they're going to have El Mal. Yeah.
All due respect to Diane Warren. Sorry, this is not going to be her year.
No.
It'll come for her, just not this year.
I wouldn't be surprised if some people abstain from this category too. So, and then the other issue for Diane is that like her name is also not on the ballot.
Right.
So it's just the song and movie title. Yeah, you just have to know that she wrote this. Like only the actors get their names on the ballot. So
moving on to score, The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Wicked, Wild Robot.
I'm going to go with The Brutalist here. It won a BAFTA. I just think it's got a very memorable score. Obviously, Conclave does as well. But I just think that it'll probably be The Brutalist. I think that's like one of the strongest aspects of the movie.
Yeah, I have that. I personally prefer the Conclave score because it's so unserious. And I would swap, like I've said before, Bokers wins if he could win for Conclave and not All Quiet. But yeah, I mean, the Brutalist score is still tremendous as well. And I think this is also kind of like a good field for it to win. Like, I don't think the other three are really that competitive, so it really just needs to be Conclave. So I can see this being one of its maybe like 3 wins.
Yeah.
This one's so tough. Both scores are so good. And it's something that, you really walk out of the film thinking about. They definitely stick with you, and they're really powerful. They support the narrative. I guess I got to go with Brutalist. I know. We changed it 7 times.
I know. It's tough. It's tough. This one's tough. I think this one's very competitive.
Tough. This one's tough because it's competitive. Yeah. They're both so strong.
Yeah.
I'm really like, I know we have to talk about SAG Awards. Like the SAG Conclave win really messed with my brain. So I have to just.
Well, also the other thing is Brutalist bombed with the guilds completely.
Yes.
So the guilds were not here for the Brutalist. I think it's kind of not exactly like Amelia, but like obviously it has international support, you know. So, right. But I think
I have this feeling that people really like Conclave, and I'm not saying this in a negative way. I'm saying this in a positive way. And I think when they vote, they're just gonna be like, "Oh, I liked Conclave," and that's not dinging the Brutalist score. It's just it gives like in a close race like that, I think it gives the edge to the Conclave score.
No, I mean it's not dinging the Brutalist. But I think what helps the Brutalist at Ampus also is that that's a smaller group of voters. It's not like guilds are huge, you know. So it's a smaller group of voters, and obviously everyone votes for winners. And Ampus did give it 10 nominations. It could go home empty-handed, of course. But like it's still there's an indication that it likes it. You know, it got 3 acting nominations, unlike at SAG when they just gave it 1 to Adrian.
Right.
You know, so I think because there is a more exclusive membership there, I think that actually helps the Brutalist at the Oscars versus the guilds, where it's so much more broad and thousands of voters voting.
Okay. All right, keep it there for now.
Okay.
Okay, production design. Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked.
This one I feel pretty confident in Wicked. I think even though Wicked is not performing as strongly as I think its fans would like throughout this season, I think this is Nathan Crowley deserves an Oscar. I think this is his 6th nomination, or is it 7th? So it'll be great for him to finally be a winner here.
Yeah, I mean, not to spoil a future category, but I think Wicked is fine in the design categories. So.
Yes.
I mean, I you know, it's when I think about the things that stick in my head after I've seen a film. That Dancing Through Life scene is just tremendous. You know, I mean, yeah, it's been there. I think about it all the time. Every time they show that clip, I don't understand it. I don't know how they do it. Give them an Oscar.
It's really great.
Really great. Makeup and hairstyling. A Different Man, Amelia Perez, Nosferatu, Substance, Wicked.
This one pretty easy. The Substance. This is like Dune Part 2 for the effects. I feel like if this is a clear, not a lot of thought into this one, The Substance is going to win. So
speaking of, like, every time, you know, it's so funny. Like you watch so many of these award shows and they show the same clips over and over. And every time I see that clip of old Demi with that gray hair and the makeup, I'm just like, yes, give it the Oscar right now. It's just, that's a really good job of clip selection.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, film editing. Anora, Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Wicked.
This is a tough one because we don't have Ace until March 14th.
Good job, Ace.
So, I'm going with Conclave. It won editing. I think whoever wins here, this could be a preview of Best Picture. You know, if it's Conclave or Anora. But I'm going to do Conclave. I think, you know, just the thriller aspect, and it's paced really well. And I don't think like I've heard anyone ever complain about anything to do with like the pacing or the length of Conclave, you know, whereas I have heard that about Anora. And I personally think it's like a little bit too long as well. And obviously, you know, The Brutalist, very long. Wicked, I actually think is paced well because it's like 2 hours and 45 minutes, and it like they don't add anything from the stage show, but you're constantly entertained. So I have that in 3rd, but I'm going to do Conclave.
I'm also going to do Conclave here. I think the other thing I was trying to figure out too is, and there are I feel like it's always like, this is a category where I think people always are like most editing will win, right? Or like a lot of montages, I think too. And I'm like, Conclave has like several montages of the votes and all these different things. And I think that the way that's weaved together in the story, I think stands out a little slightly more than than Anora, where it's like, there are montages obviously there of like the marriage and like their courtship, but I think the Conclave editing will probably win, and I do think this maybe foretells a future of Best Picture, but for now, I think I'm going to stick with Conclave. We'll see.
Yeah, I think you actually just convinced me, because I was thinking about Anora just so much because of how the editing drives the storytelling, and it helps, reminds you that this is funny and you can laugh with it, and it like keeps the pace of it going so well. But I think what Conclave does so well is it speeds you through all the votes, those montages. It makes you understand what's happening and gets you through it faster and kind of gives shape to it. So
the other thing I would say is like, Sean Baker is nominated here. Obviously, he edits his own movies. Right. It's rare that a director like Alfonso Cuarón won for Gravity, but I think, and there's not a lot of directors who edit their own movies, but like Chloe Zhao is like nominated here and didn't win. It's like,
and James Cameron won for Titanic.
It would be like, right. So it's like, it is not the most common thing. I don't think that would prevent Anora from winning with Sean winning, but like, I kind of feel like this is a spot where Conclave will win, I guess. So.
I mean, most editing is probably Emilia Perez.
Certainly, I think Emilia Perez did not get dinged. I think this is a category that Emilia Perez was actually 100%. Win competitive in before the controversy, because it was the most editing, and it's like the flashiest of these movies, probably, you could argue. And I think that would have been a very outraged prone win, like kind of Bohemian Rhapsody style if it had won. But obviously now I don't think that's going to happen. So
there's so many places this campaign took a twist and a turn that were just. I can't wait for all the stories we're going to write about the history of this campaign.
It's great.
Again, something else I was thinking about this morning, like every award show, we're like, oh, that's a surprise, or here's something that we didn't anticipate coming. Okay, costume design. Spoiler alert: Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator, Nosferatu, all together now.
Wicked.
Congratulations to Paul Tazewell.
Yes, yeah, I mean, again, so deserved.
Yeah,
he's going to have a Tony, an Emmy, and now an Oscar. So
nice. Can he get a Grammy? Can he do a book?
Yeah, he could do an audiobook or something.
An audiobook of something? Yeah, let's get
about
him a
his
Grammy.
designs.
An audiobook, because he deserves it.
Yes.
I mean, the costumes were wicked, were beautiful.
Incredible.
Absolutely. All right, and then we've got cinematography: Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu.
So hilariously, ASC yesterday gave this to Maria at Lockman. First ASC went great.
But, spreading the wealth, giving everyone something.
I think Brutalist will still win this, just because
the opening shot.
And it's the strongest film here. Now with Emilia kind of out of it, and it won BSC, the British equivalent of the Cinematographers Guild, and obviously BAFTA. So.
I'm also going with The Brutalist for every reason I think Joyce just said. Also, I think is Blade Runner 2049 the last time a Best Picture winner did not win here, I guess. A Best Picture nominee, did not win in this category. So I feel like Maria would be a real long shot even with the ASC win. I'd actually put Dune in second still, be ahead of Maria. So I'm going to stick with The Brutalist. I just think it's going to win.
The guilds we're not here for The Brutalist, that's all.
No.
The American guilds. So.
Yes, I'm with you on Brutalist on this one. I again go back to the Statue of Liberty shot. It's just beautiful.
So it's just the best. I think it's one of the most indelible images of the whole year.
And that plus the score.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The bass kicks in. Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. We'll take a break and we'll do our last round, all the above the line picks. This is the most. Now we're really going to have fun, and we have so much to talk about. So we'll take a break and we'll be right back. All right, we're back with our final segment of Oscar predictions, the above the line categories. We've agreed on a lot so far, but I'm excited to see where we go here.
Me too. Is it over yet? All right, so let's start with original screenplay. We've got Anora, Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5, and The Substance.
I'm going to go, despite what BAFTA did, I'm going to go with Sean Baker here for Anora. And I think this is one of the ones. This is the category I think we long expected Anora to win, and then I now think it will win, and maybe be its only win, but we'll see. This is what I have a winning. So,
I mean, yeah, I think most of us have had Anora winning this from the beginning, ever since Cannes, and it has not shown a lot of strength in this category, weirdly enough. I'm actually, I might do a Real Pain just for funsies right now.
So I would have done a Real Pain if it was nominated for Best Picture. But...
See, I think that's why a lot of people are not predicting it, or they don't want to predict it because they're holding on to that stat, because it's been 20 years since a non-Best Picture nominee has won this category, and that was back when Best Picture was a field of 5 for Eternal Sunshine, which probably would have made a field of 10. But I mean, it's not like a Real Pain is like some random film that came out of nowhere and just got this nomination, right? It probably finished 11th. Like, it's been really strong everywhere, like between like critics and BAFTA Industry Award. It was nominated at WGA that Anora won, and obviously Kieran is dominating, supporting actor winning. So yeah, like I think it's a well-liked movie. It just didn't get into Best Picture, but that stat is going to break at some point. So why not now? And then the other thing is, like, I think Anora has had like such an up and down 2 weeks, right? Like I do think like it's still ahead in the Best Picture race between the top guilds hall that it got with PGA, WGA, and DGA. But it does feel like it's like getting by the skin of its teeth. Like, it's not like, obviously it's not like an Oppie or Everything Everywhere. So it's kind of defaulty, which I think a lot of us felt like that was the case in the fall anyway. And I mean, like, like 2 weeks ago, I had like Sean Baker winning 4 Oscars. I'm like, is he like, he might just win 1 right now. So it's shown vulnerability at places, and because like it really has not dominated its category like we thought it would, like I can see it losing here too, because there's clearly passion behind a Real Pain.
Joyce, you've convinced me. I'm going to switch.
I'm watching him change. I'm
going to be wrong.
I'm watching him change in real time.
I'm just I'm going to switch to Real Pain.
I was thinking a lot about the stats this morning and about how we're like thinking about precedents and precedents changing.
Yeah.
People are so married to stats. And I think whatever happens this year, we're breaking stats. Whatever happens this year is going to be a stat breaker. Some precedent in every category. This is like, we already know that. And so I think precedent only gets you so far. And this year is going to be an outlier in whatever category. It can teach you so much, but it can't get you so far. We've already seen that this year is a rule breaker. So, this is a long preamble to say I'm with you on a Real Pain. I just feel like there's such, sorry. No, but I feel like I was going to say this before you even said it, because again, like sitting in all of these award shows and watching Jesse, give a speech when he does win. Great speech. And I think there's such a narrative, and there's love for him and love for Kieran when he does come to an award show, but when he does, he nails it. And there's clearly love and passion for this. And these guys are like industry bred. And this is nothing against Sean Baker and Anora. I just think it's a way to show some love for the film. And I go back to, when I saw it and I walked out of it and I thought screenplay. Screenplay.
It is the most dialogue-heavy script of the top 3 between this Anora and The Substance. The Substance, like I've said, it's concept forward. It's like, not only is there not a lot of dialogue, but like I personally feel like the star of The Substance, no offense to Demi or Margaret, is The Substance itself.
Right.
And like A Real Pain is really character-driven as well. And I think it really relatable. Like I feel like, we all probably know someone like Benji, right? And just like it's a very like universal kind of messaging in the film as well.
And I do think having Jesse, go ahead.
Sorry. The biggest knock against it is that it wasn't nominated for Best Picture. Well, what is it? It's not about the film; it's about some precedent.
And no one is voting. No one is like. No voter is like, oh, I can't vote for A Real Pain because it didn't Best Picture.
I also think like Jesse being the writer is a huge factor, and obviously he's worked with so many. You know what I mean? It's like the whole Academy voting. He's obviously again, Sean Baker, very famous filmmaker, but like Jesse Eisenberg has worked with a ton of people. He's worked with a ton of You know what I mean? Like he's got like deep industry roots, and I do think that also helps here. So I'm gonna go. I guess
I can't believe we all have A Real Pain now.
Reason,
oh my God.
The only reason I wasn't gonna do it was because of the Best Picture thing. But I think you're right, and like we'll talk about going down the list here. A lot of these precedents that we're going to cite for why certain thing will happen will probably have to break this year for something else to happen. So
the eggs are breaking this. Shells are breaking this year.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Let's talk about adapted screenplay.
This is complete unknown.
Complete opposite. This one's gonna be a quick one. Complete Unknown, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Nico Boys, Sing Sing. This is Conclave's.
Yes. Congratulations to Peter Strawn.
Is this the most locked category? Like this or supporting actor?
This is one I think both of them are very, very sad, which we could. So I do think Conclave will win here, though.
And I think it also won USC this weekend. So I take that to mean it would have won WGA had it been eligible.
It absolutely would have won WGA. So
I love that the ones that are locked are locked. It's just funny. Anyway. Okay, so the Best Supporting Actor, Yura Borisov, Kieran Culkin, Edward Norton, Guy Pearce, Jeremy Strong. Again, speaking of categories that are locked all together now, Kieran Culkin.
A real pain going 2 for 2, just like Usual Suspects.
Usual Suspect style, yeah. Hopefully it goes better for the future of those filmmakers than it does for this group. But I think Kieran Culkin winning, it seems like the most obvious thing. I can't even make an argument for anybody else here. So
no. And like only like he and Zoe Saldana can sweep of the acting contenders now, and he's had a more dominant run than she has because he won the trifecta and NBR. So congratulations to Kieran, and then he might have a Tony later this year. So
there you go. Well, that's a perfect segue. That takes care of the supporting actress category. Congratulations, Zoe. All due respect to Monica, Ariana, Felicity, and Isabella.
Yeah, I have a hard time thinking of anybody other than Zoe winning here. Like it just, no matter, she's a host unto herself, away from a million prez at this point, like has won everything. No doubt she's going to win to me.
Yeah, like when the whole Carla thing started, I was like, Zoe's going to be unaffected. Like, even if the film dies and loses the other 2 categories, but like they can divorce that whole situation from Zoe, who is innocent.
It almost cemented her. It almost cemented her as
it engenders sympathy. So
yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I do have a question, though. I think we've all had Ariana in second because she's the only other person who hit every precursor. But what if it's actually Isabella Rossellini?
Yeah, I think based on how some of the stuff went down, I could see that being true. But especially because I just don't get the sense that Wicked is widely embraced by... It's admired. It's not like, loved. But we'll see.
For sure. Okay. I feel like we keep going to we're almost touching the ensemble in the SAG and
it's coming up. It's coming up.
Spoiler alert. We're getting there. All right. So, we're ready to talk about some of the big plot twists from the SAG Awards. Best Actor. We've got Adrian Brody from Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet, Coleman Domingo, Ralph Fiennes, and Sebastian Stan. So going into this, I think we all would have said Adrian, and then we got a big Timmy win last night at the SAG Awards. Does this change anyone's vote? Where are we thinking now?
Not for me. I still have Adrian. I've always said I would still have Adrian, even if Timmy won SAG, which was widely expected, even though the odds changed on Friday and Adrian shifted to first. But that it made sense for Timmy to win SAG as the outlier. And now we know The Brutalist is not a Guild fave. Mm-hmm. And it's also not a SAG movie either. It feels, I don't know, I guess right. It's not the great word, but I'm not surprised that he lost SAG because it feels in line with Casey Affleck losing SAG for Manchester by the Sea. That's also not a very broad populist type of movie for SAG, and he lost to Denzel Washington, who had never won SAG. And similarly, Anthony Hopkins with The Father not winning SAG, losing to Chadwick Boseman, obviously huge narrative, and SAG likes those types of movies. August Wilson adaptations too, and Viola Davis won that year too. So it makes sense to me for those types of performances and films to do poorly at SAG. And all of those actors also won BAFTA, which Adrian did. And like we said, The Brutalist still has international support, and I think there are admirers of the film within the Academy as well that can tip him over. And then the SAG winners occurred after voting was closed, so there's no impact from Timmy's win either.
Yeah, it's paining me to do this because I really want to pick Timothy Chalamet because I just do. But I agree with Joyce. I think it feels like if it was a broader pool, obviously SAG has 100,000 voters. The Oscars is 10,000.
160.
And SAG did not like The Brutalist. We knew that going in. Didn't get the ensemble nomination. Couldn't get the supporting actors. The Academy Awards are different. I do think it's very close, but I'm going to stick with Adrian. I think winning. I think the BAFTA win was significant. And while I think Timothy Chalamet's speech if it was a different time frame, I think maybe this would have helped him win. but I'm going to stick with Adrian Brody. I think he's going to win. I just think that's like people, even the anonymous ballots, which were you cannot take anything seriously in those, just like, but like even all of those, a lot of the sense I got reading those was like, man, Adrian Brody, just a great, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of respect for him and admiration. So I think that's going to help him win.
Do you think, I mean, again, this is like a hypothetical, if SAG Awards had happened while Oscar voting was still open, Timmy's speech would have moved the needle at all?
I personally do. I thought it was a really good speech. I think like putting himself, like being honest and saying like, yeah, I want to be great. I want you to take me seriously. I thought that was like really endearing. I thought that was a better speech than like, no disrespect to Adrian Brody, who I really like anything that Adrian Brody has done in his speeches.
Listen,
so I was
Kieran
like
just
in on
jinxed
it.
him. Okay, he just jinxed him. That's why he lost.
But you know, and I do think they really admire A Complete Unknown, and I like obviously, but I think Adrian probably is just like in that undeniable thing. I think the Casey Manchester by the Sea comp is like pretty reasonable. I feel like it's like, oh, okay, like, you know.
Yeah, there's the admiration for the performance, which, you know, no disrespect to Timmy, I don't get the sense there is that same level for his performance in A Complete Unknown. I think everyone agrees like he did a great job, but I think it's just another rung up, or even like 2 rungs up, when you're talking about Adrian and the Brutalist. And like Chris said, like a lot of these anonymous ballots are still raving about Adrian, even if they're not voting for him or the film elsewhere. And we've talked about before, like Adrian was still winning up until SAG, even when the Brutalist was not winning Best Picture, or like he was the only one for the Brutalist at Critics' Choice.
Right.
You know, so it's like they're like, people are comfortable recognizing this performance from this movie, even if they don't love the movie.
Right. It really is a tremendous performance. It's sort of hard to put anything else up against it.
Yeah. I do want to shout out to Ralph Fiennes, who might be in another Best Picture winner with him not winning anything. So.
I'm sticking with Adrian for sure. But it was a delightful surprise last night, because we love a surprise.
Yeah, I'm really happy Timothée Chalamet won something for sure. That was great.
And it also, like, you know, last week we were joking about like how A Complete Unknown had not won anything yet, and then this weekend it won multiple awards. So, and I think it was also good for him. How
powerful we are! Look what we made happen
to like actually solidify himself as the number 2 in this race, or like Adrian's top rival in this race, because it really was unclear before that, because Adrian had won everything. Like, who was his top rival?
Yep. All right, so let's move on to another crystal clear race. So let's talk about Best Actress. Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon, Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison and Nora, Demi Moore, The Substance, Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. So obviously Demi won last night for SAG, gave another great speech, as she has been doing. Mikey had a lot of momentum over the weekend prior to that.
I'll go first. I don't know what to do here. I also, like we said, like we've talked about this, like this is the first time this field has actually faced off. So we don't know how Fernanda Torres will impact this, and if she could get enough momentum and enthusiasm to actually win. I actually don't think that's, if you told me that she won, I would be surprised, but not completely, it would not be completely unexpected, I guess I would argue. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a world where she could actually win this. I can't go out on that limb just yet, though I really want to. So I'm going to stick with Mikey for Nora after BAFTA. I know everyone like loves Demi, and I think if like Bong Joon-ho said, like it's a local event, right? The Oscars are a local event. Demi's like obviously hometown favorite in Hollywood and has like a lot of friends. And if she won this, I would not be completely surprised. That said, I just think that Nora's a stronger movie, and that will push it over the top. I don't think The Substance did really well, about as well as it could have, but it still missed some key spots, and Nora didn't do that. So I'm going to stick with Mikey Madison.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Mikey as well. Like what Chris said, like she has a stronger film. It like still the Best Picture frontrunner, could win, probably winning director too. And we've seen in this decade, certainly, that the stronger film helps you in an acting race. So, and then I think, you know, like she has the BAFTA versus Demi with the Globe, Critics' Choice, and SAG. So a numbers game, you might give the edge to Demi, but I think the BAFTA win was significant because it's not like BAFTA went head over heels for Nora. You know, it didn't win picture, director, or screenplay. It just won actress and casting, which is not a category at the Oscars. So, and then we also know The Substance is a genre film and it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. So I think the fact that BAFTA still liked Anora enough to give it Best Actress when it wasn't in love with the movie, I think that helps Mikey.
This is also the one thing I was thinking. This is why I actually keep going back to like, what if Fernanda actually wins? Is that Anora is also a genre movie too, and I could see a world and like
still here is very traditional,
very traditional, and a biopic, right? In some like she's playing a real life person. That's why I keep going back to that, and I'm like, I do think she's very close to winning. Fernanda Torres, I really almost want to pull the trigger.
I don't want to be tricked into another Penelope Cruz situation again.
Right.
So,
that's why I'm going with the strong. I still think Anora is a stronger movie than I'm Still Here, like in the end. But I think I'm Still Here is stronger than The Substance. And again, no disrespect to The Substance, which I know people will pile on me for being a hater of the movie, even though I liked it. I will say that I do think I'm Still Here maybe is a stronger movie, and Fernanda probably dragged that movie into a Best Picture nomination by herself. So if she won, I actually think. Like, I'm going to have Fernanda in second and Demi in third. That's how I'm excited. Yes.
Okay, wait, who do you think Fernanda's presence in this category affects more, Mikey or Demi?
That's what I've been trying to figure out. I kind of thought Demi, because I think we were saying, like, internationally, The Substance probably played better than it did with American audiences. And I think that would put Fernanda and Demi in a similar bucket, but I also think Demi and Mikey are in a similar bucket because they're genre movies. So I don't know.
I don't know. No, because I'm going back to Lily versus Emma last year and just thinking, like, what's the takeaway there? Emma had the
stronger movie.
Emma had the stronger movie.
The one thing that gives me pause, and we can talk about this when we get to Best Picture, and it was a wonderful speech, Jane Fonda's speech last night when she won her at the SAG Awards on Sunday night. But when she was talking about, and she played a sex worker, obviously, and she talked about playing a sex worker, and she still talked about the stigma of sex workers being like abused, right, or having being victims of incest. And I was like, oh, I wonder if that is like an older Academy member who is like off on The Substance because it's gross and they don't like it, would they also be off on Anora because of like outdated thoughts on sex workers? And then does that push those older voters to Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here? I don't know. But that's what I was thinking about. I'm way too deep on this. I just feel like
but that's exactly it. Like, I think the Fernandez is this traditional narrative, like it's traditional film, you know, for those older Oscar voters, there's nothing controversial about it. It's very straightforward, powerhouse performance. You walk out of the movie thinking about it. To your point, she single-handedly got that film all of those other nominations. And we haven't seen these performances go head to head. So I think discounting her is wrong. Like, you have to really think about the impact that she has on this race. And I think there are going to be people who are going to be turned off by Anora, and there are people who are going to be turned off by Substance, but there's nothing to turn anyone off by Fernanda. Oy.
But I do wonder, it's like how much of her like absence from these other, like she wasn't a nominee at these other shows, how much that affect things. Like she still went to those shows because I'm Still Here was nominated, right? Didn't win. But I think, you know, it's like subconsciously people just register as like, oh, these are the people who are always nominated in this category, right? Like I see Mikey, Demi, Cynthia, Carla everywhere, you know, and then it's just like you haven't seen Fernanda yet until
Well, I guess Oscars. I mean this. Like, if it was BAFTA, if Fernanda was nominated at BAFTA, like, I almost might have predicted her. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I had Mikey winning there, and I felt like that was like the most BAFTA-y or whatever. But I was like, I think if Fernanda would have won BAFTA, obviously, then we're coming into this race, and you're probably going, "Oh, Fernanda's going to win here, right?" Because like she won BAFTA. She wasn't there at BAFTA, so we don't know. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I don't know, because I feel like she might just be Sandra Hüller, except Sandra made BAFTA. She didn't make SAG. Fernanda would not have made SAG, obviously. So
do you think?
Yeah,
but I'm just looking back at all the past Best Actress winners. Do you think the argument against Mikey is that okay, this is a great performance, we can wait for the next one?
I've heard that like from people like not voters.
I mean, they
could
say that about Timmy. So
they've said that a lot.
And like, you just use that argument for Timmy, and so like this sort of like ingenue winning Best Actress hasn't happened for a while.
Right.
It hasn't happened since Emma's first win, when she was 28. So since then, they've actually awarded more people over 40.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm just looking back at the list.
Emma was 35 last year. So
So that argues for Demi or Fernanda, where you've got established actresses winning.
And
but historically, the category goes to younger actresses. It's just recently,
historically, but not recently. Yeah. But not recently.
And all this said, like, if Demi won, like, would any of us be surprised, right? You know what I mean? Like, she could still easily win. Like, it's like she'd be like, you know, with the makeup, we know we know the movie's winning hair and makeup. There's obviously great correlation there. It's like it's this probably the safe thing to do to predict her, like if you're doing your Oscar pool. But I'm like, I kind of want to predict Fernanda, but I'm going to stick with Mikey for now. I'll see if I change my mind.
Different person, so.
I'll take Fernanda. I'll take Fernanda. Fine.
All right, I'll take Fernanda. And I'll take Demi. I'll take Demi.
Okay. All right. I'm just going to stick Fernanda. I've talked myself into it.
I think nothing against any of these performances. I think it's just it's a tough call.
It is. Okay. It really is.
All right. Oh my God, we can argue this forever. All right. Best director. Like wake up in the middle of the night still arguing with myself. All right. Best director: Jacques Audiard, Sean Baker, Brady Corbet, Carly Farge, and James Mangold.
Sean.
I'm going to go Sean Baker too. The DGA stat is just too difficult to break, I feel like. So
yeah, I'm going Sean.
I was thinking, like, what if this is Anora's safest category and it pulls a Power of the Dog? It just makes director.
It would be very funny if that's true, but I actually think that is what's going to happen. And I think that, I think it doesn't seem, you wouldn't think of this as like the Power of the Dog movie and like the Jane Campion type comp, but I do think Sean is going to win here because I just feel like
I'm not going against DGA.
No, I'm not going to go against DGA either.
I'm going against the DGA. All right.
This is it. Best picture. We did it.
Best picture. Wicked. Yay. All right. So we've got Anora. I just feel like I really need to read everyone's names. Anora, The Brutalists, the closest I'll ever get to being on stage. A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boy is a Substance, and Wicked. Obviously, SAG Ensemble went to Conclave.
I'll go first. If Conclave, okay. So Conclave wins SAG and BAFTA Best Film. So then didn't win any of the other ones. Didn't win PGA and DJ. Lost PGA on a preferential ballot to Anora, right? So we already know, like, okay, that's a bad sign. If it wins Best Picture with this BAFTA and SAG Best Ensemble, it would be the only other movie to have done that is Shakespeare in Love against Saving Private Ryan. And Shakespeare in Love obviously had
BAFTA was after the Oscars.
So the other movies that even did this would be like The Full Monty or Three Billboards, right? Like that's the most recent comp. I actually think it's going to do it. I think Conclave is going to win Best Picture with its adapted screenplay win and editing win, like Argo. I think it's the consensus movie that everybody likes. And I keep going back to this. While it would be a total history-making precedent, like a precedent-breaking win, I'm like, if all these movies, the Oscars usually like to say something about now, and Conclave says something more about now.
Pope Francis too.
Not Pope Francis. I think it's about like the movie is very old fashioned in like a Sorkin-y way and a Capri way, where it's like one man can stand up and say the right thing, and he's going to convince people to do the right thing, even if they have disparate political views. And I think that's like a nice message that maybe is very outdated and doesn't exist, but I think people want it to exist. And I do think that's going to help it win over Nora, which is a great movie, and Follow Your Heart, as the campaign has said. But I don't know if doesn't really say anything about now in the way that the Oscars have shown they want their Best Picture winner to do lately. So that's why I'm going to go with Conclave.
It's Follow Your Heart versus Let the Conclave Begin. So who has the better tagline? I think I'll just stick with Anora. Because it still won the PGA. Like, they both have really strong combos to win, and it's like it's kind of sad one of them has to lose, because I think against like any other movie they would probably.
You do have a heart. Wait, is that a heart? You were sad about that?
I'm not sad. I'm just saying, like, it's unfortunate that one of them would have to lose because listen, Anora has PGA, DJ, and WGA. Conclave has BAFTA, SAG Ensemble. It's locked for screenplay, and probably will have editing as well. Like, those are really strong combos for each of them. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, like, in another field, they might be locks to win, but against each other, one of them has to lose. So I think, like, I'll still lean towards, I mean, if you kind of drop WGA because of ineligibilities, like, PJ and DJ is still really strong. And I feel like when we've had those upsets of the PJ and DJ winners, it's because there's like a surging underdog, and I don't think Conclave is that. Like it's always been here, right? And then like Chris mentioned, like Shape of Water and Three Billboards, like that was when Three Billboards won BAFTA and SAG, and PJ and DJ went with Shape of Water, and Shape of Water won Best Picture. So I can see it being like that, even though obviously Three Billboards was very fraught that season as well. And neither of these films have those issues here. And, like the only film that has won PGA, DJ, and WGA and lost the Oscar was Brokeback Mountain, which is another different situation too. And I think Conclave's wins also make sense at BAFTA because obviously British. And then the SAG win for Ensemble also makes sense because a couple weeks ago we were talking about like how Conclave is actually the populist movie, like it's the most memed movie, and SAG is the most online group. So it actually makes sense that it won SAG Ensemble to me now. And like Honora has not been the strongest, shown one of movies, blanked at the Globes, now blanked at SAG. But I feel like it's done enough, and I feel like it just, like the fact that it got the ensemble nomination at SAG is good enough for it, and I didn't think it needed to win that. And obviously the worst case scenario for it was Conclave winning that, because I think if Wicked had won that, we'll just be like, it's still Honora's.
100%. Yeah, I think the Conclave win was like detrimental to it in the end. But I like what we're talking about there is when you're talking about like these upsets, like Brokeback versus Crash, or even like Green Book. I think like I'm like Conclave is it is the very basic. It's not as fraught as those movies, but it's very basic.
Yeah,
and it is very like mainstream, and it does feel like an Academy that has awarded those kind of movies would lean towards that over Nora. It's got to be incredibly close here.
Yeah,
I think
and
this
probably
is like
just missed PGA, like just lost PGA.
And I do think like, like we said, like people like to back a winner. That was Nora, but like Conclave winning over the weekend at BAFTA last weekend. I don't know. I think there's a lot of reasons why I think it could win. And I do think that it is the most consensus movie. I still think you're going to have people putting Nora at the bottom of their ballots. And I think Conclave is going to be top 3 on most ballots. So,
and I don't think Edward Berger missing director is an issue here, because we've had, several movies in recent years winning without director nomination. And like, it could literally just get the Argo package of picture, adapted screenplay, and editing. So.
Yes, that's what I have it getting.
I think I just talked myself into Conclave listening to you. Just because I think I have to go change my ballot, but I just think there's something about the preferential ballot. I think the consensus favorite, I think the relative strength of the performance of the films. I just think, again, when you just think about what Oscar voters are going to go in there and think about, and again, this isn't about like what the best film is or what I think deserves to win, which I've gotten yelled at about in the last couple of weeks. It's about what I think will win, about how I think Oscar voters think. And I think there's just something, again, I don't know that I would have said this before Conclave won SAG, but the fact that it won SAG just, again, taps into this, I don't want to say passion, but feeling that people have for Conclave, or support that they have for it. But maybe it is passion. Maybe it's just they really like the film.
I do wonder if, Conclave has not won a lot of Best Picture prizes anywhere. Obviously, BAFTA is the biggest one. But it has really more or less run the table with ensemble awards by like all these random critics groups and stuff. And obviously also won Critics' Choice Ensemble. So I wonder if people feel passionately about the actors and the ensemble, but they don't actually think it's the best picture, and they're not voting as such.
It could be. We'll find out, I guess. But
we'll find out.
We'll find out.
I mean, can we just I just want to give I just feel like I have to, in any Best Picture conversation, I have to mention Brutalist, because it was a tremendous film, and it was just a tremendous accomplishment. It just feels like it's just lost the momentum in the Best Picture race.
I mean, I have it a distant third.
I have it in third too, and I think It just is too, I don't know. Yeah. Another year, maybe it would have, but like this year, it just did not, it didn't. I think another year it would have been the Honora to Conclave. I think you could imagine if Honora wasn't there, I think it would be the Brutalist versus Conclave, that kind of thing. But with Honora there, it's kind of like throwing a monkey wrench in the Brutalist's plans. But this is a good field of Best Picture nominees. So
lots to debate.
Yeah.
As we have.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up there. This was so much fun.
How many changes are going to make before Sunday?
Probably at least, 3 or 4. I don't know. We'll see. No, these are our final picks. Final. That's it. Set in stone. No. Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon. Thanks so much. Bye. Thanks for listening to Awards Magnet. The show is produced by Aaron Greenwald. Our logo is designed by Chelsea Sikora. To be part of the show, email us at slugfests@goldderby.com and follow us on social media @goldderby.